delivered. Guam AutoSpot is extending our overstock sell-off with the hottest deals on island, like our 2025 GMC Canyon with $4,000 off. Or slide into a brand new Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, starting at just $24,995. September is your chance to drive big and save even bigger. Visit us today or get pre-approved online at guamautospot.com or call 478-AUTO. Guam AutoSpot, where the savings never stop.
Buy fuel, get Wendy's. Drive to your nearest 76 Circle K and get free Wendy's. Yes, free. Fuel up with $30 and score your choice of a 6-piece crispy chicken nuggets or a juicy junior cheeseburger deluxe. Fresh, hot, and packed with flavor. But hurry, quantities are limited and this delicious deal won't last long. So hit the road to 76 Circle K, fuel up, and get Wendy's free before it's gone.
It's me, Wednesday Addams. I regret to inform you that I have devised the meal of misfortune with Wendy's. Normally I'd be against this type of capitalistic corporate synergy. But when the other pigtailed provocateur said I could concoct my own Frosty, I melted. My meal is tribute to the suffering that awaits us all. It's pure torture for your taste buds, with 4 nightmarish dips of dread. Don't waste my time asking which ones you'll get. You must surrender to your fate. Enjoy the anguish.
Dare to try? Something new? Life's too short!
You gotta chill with the snackable drink.
Life is too short. Hey, you gotta chill.
Mogu Mogu.
Moku Moku! Kandit News is brought to you by 76 Circle K.
Good evening, my dear friends. It is 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, September 23, 2025. My name is Troy Torres, and what a surprise the federal government dropped today. Normally, we wait for Wednesdays when the federal government will drop indictments, when the federal grand jury will reveal or will drop an indictment, and the U.S. government or the court will unveil it, and then we'll have something to report to you by the end of the day or the following day or something like that. So we're not normally paying attention to federal court stuff on days before Wednesday, on Monday or Tuesday. But in a spring of luck, and we have been waiting months for this to happen. We've been waiting for months since these warrants first appeared in the federal court archive system list as sealed. And then when the indictments against Charissa Tenorio and gang happened on June 25 and were unsealed on June 27 of this year. And that indictment showed 3 warrant numbers that remained sealed, which piqued our curiosity even further about what could be in these warrants. That because normally when a case is unsealed, so are the warrants that led to the case. But because these warrants were sealed, there must have been something that the federal government did not want to disclose to the public. There must be some sensitive information in those warrants. And while it's not completely clear what is that sensitive information, two of those warrants were unsealed. Two of those three warrants were unsealed just today. And boy, do they contain a whole lot of information that we did not expect was coming. My name is Troy Torres. Good evening. Let's talk about this. First of all, don't drink the water in Guam if it comes from Guam Waterworks Authority. I trusted them for several years because they've been saying that the water has been good, but apparently they're a bunch of liars. And we're going to talk about the pretty little liars of this government tonight. So, you know what really gets my goat? Throughout this administration, not just me, not just Kandit, but many of you, many people on this island have been saying there's corruption. Corrupt things are happening throughout this administration. And people have been asking for direct answers from the governor, from the lieutenant governor, more recently from the lieutenant governor, from the directors, from the director of communications, from the spokeswoman, whoever, right? Lots of questions have remained unanswered by this administration. And it's kind of like a toxic relationship where you suspect that your spouse is lying to you. And you suspect it because you have all of this evidence. It's right in front of your face. It's so obvious. You know that your spouse knows that you know because it's just right there in front of you. And yet, what does your spouse say? It wasn't me. They evade the question. They turn it on you and say that maybe you're the one who's just thinking these things up, imagining these things. They speak in generalities. They never answer the question directly. And then they eventually make you think that you're the crazy one, that you are the paranoid one, that you are the conspiracy theorist, and that you have nothing better to do than to make things up in that swirling in your head, because you must be the problem as the accuser, not me, the person who never does anything wrong. That's precisely what this administration has been doing to us for at least the last 4 years. And it is now plain for us to see, unless a federal agent with the FBI is lying to the federal court. What this federal agent said in these two unsealed warrants today show us, the people of Guam, that Adelup has been lying to us since 2021. So this is what happened. This is what was unsealed. And you'll see it in the news story that we published right before I went to Mass tonight. It was, I think I published it on the website at about 5:35 p.m., and I published it onto Facebook at around 5:50 p.m. And it's the news story about our review of these two warrants. And this is what they are. On June 25 this year, the federal grand jury indicted Charissa Tenorio, who is Josh Tenorio's sister, her boyfriend, Frankie Rosalind, Josh Tenorio's boyfriend, Matthew Tapasia, Frankie Rosalind's mother, Tina Sanchez, Tina Sanchez's sister, Winnie Santos, and two former Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program Office employees, the former supervisor of the office or program manager, Kathleen Pareto, and former PUA employee, Marlene Pareto. They were indicted on June 25. Their case was unsealed on June 27. That's when the public knew. Hold on, okay, I need to turn on, it's hot in here, I need to turn on the fan. Because I'm getting all worked up. So they were indicted, and when the indictment comes out, there are attachments in the back, and those attachments show that there are, in each of their cases, which warrants led to their indictment. For Charissa Tenorio, it was all three of these warrants: 24 MJ0095, 24 MJ00096, both issued by the District Court on August 12, 2024, both executed by the FBI on August 15, 2024 in raids on Charissa Tenorio. And then 25 MJ00011. And then for all of the other 6, none of the other 6 have all 3 of them. All of the other 6 have either 1, and I think maybe Frankie Rosalind or Cat Pareto has 2 warrants attached to them. But it's a combination of these 3, right? And so we've been wondering, what in the heck is in these warrants? Because these warrants have affidavits. In order for the judge to sign off that there is probable cause to that this would not be an unlawful search and seizure, there has to be, you have to provide the judge with a narrative, with an affidavit that says whatever, right? And so we've been wondering this entire time. So, pardon me. And then behind those warrants, in the explanation that would secure those warrants is enough information about the investigation up until that point where the judge, where the FBI agent or the IRS agent or whoever is able to say to the judge, look, based on everything that we have investigated already, these are the things that we need. These are the things that we believe we are going to be able to find if you allow us to search A, B, C, and D. Can we have the warrant? And so they got these warrants. And these warrants were unsealed. And what they show, number one, both warrants 95 and 96 being unsealed, both showing that the FBI, since at least 2021, was investigating Charissa Tenorio and the other conspirators who are named in the indictment and unnamed co-conspirators. Unnamed co-conspirators and unnamed co-actors who have yet to be indicted, by the way. And so watch out every single Wednesday, every single Thursday, whether Kandit is going to be dropping news about superseding indictments or additional cases that are filed that are connected to this Charissa Tenorio case. But what these warrants, getting back to this, what these warrants show us is that since at least 2021, the federal government had been investigating Charissa Tenorio and the other co-conspirators, both named and unnamed, in the indictment in a scheme, an alleged scheme and conspiracy to defraud the federal government of at least $1.9 million in PUA funds, and to further victimize the poor who were the victims of the alleged scheme, from a period in 2020 all the way to September of 2021. And what these warrants show us is that from the time the investigation started in 2021 by the FBI up until the August 12 application for the warrants, multiple people, dozens of people, had been interviewed by the FBI and are witnesses in this case, many of whom are former employees of Comfort Cuts, the business that is operated and co-owned by Charissa Tenorio. Many of whom were fake employees of Comfort Cuts, because according to these warrants, what Charissa Tenorio and others would accomplish would be to make up fake verifications of employment to show that these people were Comfort Cuts employees so that they could fraudulently get PUA. In the course of this investigation, according to these warrants, the FBI agents were able to ascertain from testimony of these separate people, and it's almost like through this particular part of the conspiracy, there was not even an effort on the part of the conspirators to be smart, at least, in what they were doing. It was like they just left it all out in the open, and then all these people, right? And so the FBI would ask them, is this your signature? Did you receive this check? I mean, all sorts of things coming back. And it ranges from, yes, each of them were made to sign white sheets of paper, and you can surmise when you ask someone to sign their signature on a white sheet of paper, why are you doing that? It's so you can hold it up against a camera and put it into the computer system so that you can use it to use their signature for whatever. Why else would you ask someone to sign their signature on a white sheet of paper and give it to you? And so it ranges from that to most of them, or some of them not even being aware that they applied, that pool was applied for in their name, to some of them not being aware whatsoever that they got PUA at all and their benefits were taken and they never saw any of those benefits, to some of them seeing some of their benefits and being told to surrender the rest of those benefits, if not all of those benefits, to Charissa Tenorio. These are all only allegations that are being made by the federal government. And there's all of this evidence that are in these warrants that the federal agent says to the judge, look, these are the things that happened. And so we already know some of this stuff, right? We already know from the indictment some of these details. These warrants go into greater detail on what happened. Like, for instance, there are monetary amounts that each time these employees and fake employees would cash their checks, they would either give the money directly to Charissa Tenorio or to Tina Sanchez, or they would leave the money, the cash, anywhere from $2,000 to $15,000 at a time on Charissa Tenorio's desk at the Comfort Cuts office. Okay? And so you have the FBI agent, hero in my book. This woman needs to get an award for the work that she did. The work that, by the way, our local government didn't do to root out this corruption. It took the feds to come in and to do our jobs yet again. What an embarrassment. I mean, just our government is such an embarrassment. And so this is where, I forgot. One of the things that is alleged in these warrants that you don't see in the indictment, and which gives rise to a whole other segment to this story, is while the indictment talks about, yes, many people who were receiving PUA, for which, Charissa Tenorio and the other conspirators, co-conspirators, fraudulently made these applications so that these people could get PUA. Some of them were actual Comfort Cuts employees, and they were actually working without a reduction in hours during this period of the pandemic, which would make them ineligible for PUA. But that's not the really bad part. The really bad part, according to both warrants, according to Special Agent Jamie Kandit with the FBI, is that Charissa Tenorio would treat the PUA, the fraudulent PUA that these employees of hers were getting, as their paychecks for the hours that were worked, that were legitimately worked at Comfort Cuts, and would not pay their wages according to these affidavits, which of course is a violation of federal labor law. And so we at Kandit have known about that portion of the story for some time because of some of these former employees telling us. And they told us also, at least 2 of them made complaints to the Guam Department of Labor. And it's kind of interesting because there was an attack piece done on us that glorified a guy named Greg Massey. And I remember Greg Massey from my time in the government. He had always been over at the Department of Labor. He was in the Wage and Hour Division. I believe he was the administrator of the Wage and Hour Division at the time. I don't know what his position was at the time of this conspiracy. I have asked the governor's office to provide this information. They have not provided this information as of news time. I asked the governor's office how many Comfort Cuts employees from the pandemic through today have complained to the Guam Department of Labor that their employer was cheating them out of wages. And of those, how many turned into investigations, and what happened to those investigations? And was Greg Massey involved? I'm waiting for answers from the governor's office. But I don't have much confidence in the answers that will come out of the governor's office or the Guam Department of Labor, because they have not been honest with us. They have not been honest with the people of Guam throughout this entire thing. Do you remember when the indictment was unsealed? It was a Friday. It was June 27, 2025. And everyone at the top of everyone's mind was, what did Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio know? And sometime toward the end of the day, we were able to get some type of an answer. We weren't able to ask questions because what the governor's office did was release a prepared video statement from Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. And here's what he said that day.
Public service, I have come to understand that leadership is not defined solely by success and triumphs, but by how we navigate the challenges, especially when those challenges come unexpectedly and from personal hardships. Public service requires strength in the face of adversity, and today I stand before you shouldering what feels like the weight of the world, not just as your lieutenant governor, but as a son, a brother, and a significant other. The recent allegations involving my sister Charissa, her son's father, and my significant other Matt has caused immense personal pain. These are people I love deeply, people who have been with me through the highs and lows of life. Now they face a difficult and trying legal situation, and it is one that weighs heavily on our entire family. As these legal proceedings unfold, I have full faith in the rule of law. I trust that the truth will come to light and that justice will be served fairly and impartially, as it always should. I have always believed that no one is above the law. Not me, not my sister, not my significant other, and not anyone in our administration. At the same time, it is important to remind ourselves that every individual is entitled to due process and the presumption of innocence. We cannot and must not allow political narratives or unfounded allegations to overshadow the basic principle that everyone deserves due process. While I'm not personally involved in this case, I understand that my association with my family, whether by blood or relationships, has led some to question the integrity of my office and our administration. It is understandable that in such a moment of uncertainty, there will be doubts, and I want to address them head on. I had no knowledge of the events alleged in the indictment. I was not aware of the actions that have led to these charges, and I want to make it clear that I am not involved, nor have I been accused of any wrongdoing. I am not under investigation, nor have I ever been, and I have full confidence that the legal process will uncover the facts as they are. As your Lieutenant Governor, I know the immense responsibility I carry. I understand the challenges our administration may face in the days ahead, but let me reassure you, I will not let this situation define my leadership or the work that lies ahead for us. I remain fully committed to serving you with the same honor, humility, integrity, and transparency that I have demonstrated in all my years of public service. Our work continues, and we will stay focused on the issues that matter most to our island. There is much work still to be done, navigating the global and regional challenges we face.
Yeah, the issues that matter most to us, like making sure cancer is not in our water. Thanks, Lieutenant Governor. So many people were latching on to, at the time, the "it wasn't me" theme of the Lieutenant Governor's speech. People were, someone made, I think it was Guam Funny memes. They made something, that Shaggy song, "It Wasn't Me." Remember when we were young and we were sexy and we would just twerk it to that song? So someone made a thing of Josh Tenorio. So that was the focus that most people had, right? But here was my focus. My focus in that 3-minute spiel of his was when he said, "I am not under investigation." And I thought at the time, and I continued to think, and then I saw today's warrants, and I was like, son of a gun. I thought at the time, and I continued to think, how do you know you're not under investigation? How can you make an honest claim like that? Because the FBI ain't going to tell you, "Sir, you're not under investigation." The United States attorney is not going to tell a person, yeah, you're not under investigation in this case involving your sister, an open case that hasn't even gone to court yet, that it was just an indictment. How do you know that you're not under investigation? And I called it at the time as a lie. And I repeatedly asked the governor's office, I repeatedly asked Crystal Paco San Agustin, how do you guys know? How can you make that claim that the lieutenant governor is not under investigation? Can I please have the written letter that you've received from the United States attorney asserting that the lieutenant governor is not under investigation? And crickets. And after a while, I felt like I was the crazy one, that I was the paranoid one, that I was the one who was chasing after something that wasn't there. Because that's what a toxic relationship does. And my dear friends, make no mistake about it. We're finding out tonight that for the past 6.5 years, we've been in a toxic relationship with our administration. And time and again, apparently, it has been lying to us. And I'll show you that lie in just a second. Let me just play what Josh Tenorio told Pacific Daily News reporter Joe Titano a week after this June 27 video spiel that he had, where thankfully Joe Titano was able to catch up with him and get him to sweat a little and get him to say things that contradicted his June 27 statements. And again, Adelup is quiet about the contradictions. Doesn't say anything about is asked questions about the contradictions and doesn't answer with anything definitive. But here it is, here, because I want you to hear what he says here.
As far as the allegations that were made in the indictment, the investigation itself, or the case that came forward, did you know anything about what was alleged or the ongoing investigation before it came out and was in court?
At the time of the allegations, I was not aware of any wrongdoing. And with regards to investigations, I would just say that it's very inappropriate to comment about investigations. For me, for sure, coming as an employee of the court before, you know that investigations shouldn't be undermined. Authorities have authority, and I would expect that anybody within the government of Guam that is approached for information will cooperate and make sure that they do their job. Well, you know, I would just say that I did hear that there was investigations. I was assured that there was no wrongdoing, and of course advised family members to seek counsel. And I did not discuss anything about the investigation with them. I did know when authorities approached family members, and I told them that they should get counsel. I did not discuss anything, and also I would say that it would be inappropriate to discuss the investigation with anybody. You know, this is a very important situation here, and I would just say that it's not my intention for my presence or any activity that I would be doing to be misunderstood.
Was Addams or the governor aware that this was going on prior to becoming public?
I would say that we don't involve ourselves in any investigative matters. I did not have any knowledge about the specifics of any information or requests for information. Those are reserved for people and those authorities, and I'm not involved in that, and I would not be involved in it.
I'm not involved. We didn't know. Joe Titano asking, was Adelup aware before this? Not involved. We didn't know. We don't involve ourselves. Lies. Absolute lies. Unless the FBI special agent on this case on August 12 lied to the federal court in her affidavit signed under oath, under penalty of perjury to the federal court in order to obtain the warrants in this case. And this is what is said in both of these warrants. This is from Special Agent Jamie Kandit. I learned common practice on Guam is for government of Guam directors to report to the Guam administration to include the governor and lieutenant governor when the FBI asks for documents to support an investigation. I know that Tenorio is an immediate relative of a high-ranking member of the current administration. I also know the director of Guam Department of Labor notified the governor's office of the FBI investigation of Tenorio. The notification was made in 2021, 2022, and as recent as the week of August 5, 2024. Tenorio has been aware of the PUA fraud investigation for many years. From my experience and training, I know when criminals become aware of investigations into their criminal activity, the criminal will begin to contact witnesses and co-conspirators to get those individuals involved in the criminal scheme to lie and tell the FBI the same story of the scheme. This is in an effort to hide the criminal activity. I know as recent as the week of August 5, 2024, Tenorio was in contact with at least 24 PUA applicants and also the co-conspirators of the investigation to acquire information as it relates to the investigation and to tell the applicants what to tell the FBI. I also learned through an interview when Pinala left her job at GDOL, Pinala was told by her supervisor, Greg Massey, to be expecting a call from the FBI regarding PUA fraud. Therefore, the conspirators have been aware of the ongoing investigation since late 2021 of the FBI's investigation into the PUA financial fraud investigation. Adaloop, according to this affidavit, has been lying to us since 2021. And in questions that we sent to the governor's office tonight, including yes or no, Governor, when you were made aware by David Dell Isola in 2021 of the FBI investigation against Charissa Tenorio and the other co-conspirators, did you tell any of the co-conspirators about the investigation? Yes or no? We have not received an answer to that. We have not received an answer to, can you react to the allegations made by the FBI special agent in these warrants? We have not received any answers to any questions about the governor or the lieutenant governor's knowledge of this case since 2021, including why didn't you tell the people of Guam since 2021? And you know what gets my goat even more was these two pontificating to us in 2022 about Mike St. Nicholas and his ethics thing when they knew about a multi-million-dollar PUA fraud corruption conspiracy involving the lieutenant governor's family. From the same program that they used and they propped up to say, we got you this, people of Guam. You should vote for us because we gave you all the money. And they kept their mouths shut about an investigation that they knew since 2021. So how in the hell, from now until the end of the administration, are we going to be able to trust one single damn thing they say? For Kandit News, I'm Troy Torres. Good night, and God bless us all.
You asked, we delivered. Guam AutoSpot is extending our overstock sell-off with the hottest deals on island, like our 2025 GMC Canyon with $4,000 off. Or slide into a brand new Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, starting at just $24,995. September is your chance to drive big and save even bigger. Visit us today or get pre-approved online at guamautospot.com or call 478-AUTO. Guam AutoSpot, where the savings never stop.
Dare to try something new? Life's too short.
You gotta chill with a snackable drink.
Life is too short. Hey, you gotta chill.
Mogu Mogu.
Moku moku.
Buy fuel, get Wendy's. Drive to your nearest 76 Circle K and get free Wendy's. Yes, free. Fuel up with $30 and score your choice of a 6-piece crispy chicken nuggets or a juicy junior cheeseburger deluxe. Fresh, hot, and packed with flavor. But hurry, quantities are limited and this delicious deal won't last long. So hit the road to 76 Circle K, fuel up, and get Wendy's free before it's gone.